Greetings, everyone. I hope that you are all doing very, very well. So it is horrific what is unfolding in New Orleans. I'm not going to get into a lot of the frustration that I have about some things, but there was, in fact, a terrorist attack. No matter what the FBI wants to tell us, there was a terrorist attack. There are now 12 dead. Early this morning, they were saying it was 10 dead on the scene, but since that time, two more have died. Hi, Team Doocy Doo Doo Two Two Two. I did not realize that you were in New Orleans, and so I'm so sorry for what you guys are experiencing. Um, I do think that there are some incredible I think there are some incredible problems already. One is that there have been these metal, like heavy piping that are submerged in the streets, like around the French Quarter and such. And when they need to, they raise these metal structures to stop anyone, a car, from barreling into the French Quarter, like when they're doing their Mardi Gras celebrations or big, like football game celebrations, things like that. And in the most bizarre, crazy coincidence, maybe, they did not raise those barriers last night. They should have been raised. Without a doubt, they should have been raised. For some reason, they were not. And so this man, who is an American citizen, drove this cyber truck into the crowd and killed what is now 12 people and injured 20 plus more. They were transported to five different hospitals, and it's really horrible. So I have found the guy. There's a YouTube channel, and I want to start this video by zeroing in. Notice that back behind his left shoulder, there's a saxophone player. That statue that has the light shining on it, it's actually a saxophone player, quite reminiscent of the New York jazz. I'm sorry, New Orleans jazz memorabilia. The artwork beside that, the guy that looks like it's his head and a tuxedo, top of his shoulders, it's actually really ominous when you zoom close in. Let me see how close I can get again. It's going to be hard to do it with the screen. Um, yeah, that's as far as it'll go. But I'll point out what it is. Maybe on a larger TV, you'll see it better. So it looks to be head and shoulders, and then this maybe a cup. I thought, okay, is that supposed to signify like an empty suit, someone who's no good? But if you pay closer attention, you'll realize that this is actually a knife tip right here. So this is a knife that goes like from the guy's neck. And the guy is like this old Caucasian dude with a little like silver mustache, and his eyes are kind of white looking. But if you go straight down from his neck, then in the cup it looks to be the blade of a knife, correct? Now, if you look up at his neck, where what would be the collar, about a three-fourths of it is like a white collar with some green writing on it, and there's no way to tell what it is. Ominously, on the left, however, it actually looks like the guy's neck has been cut, and it's red. So I guess symbolic of blood, perhaps. So I saw that and I thought, gosh, this is really horrible. However, this black dot that you're seeing right here, it looks to be a handgun. And if you follow the trajectory of the gun, it looks like the side of the man's head is kind of like JFK, the back of his head kind of came out. And then if you go on over to the dark corner, then there is red splatter on the black corner. So the other stuff, you just can't make out what the books say. You can't tell what the books are. There's a clock here that's 5 minutes till 11. Don't know what that means because the assault happened at 3:15. And then this is like a little candle holder, like a 6-sided candle holder. Kind of strange flowers. It doesn't look real. I've never seen a long straight white flower. In fact, those look kind of like doobies to me. They kind of look like joints. So I don't know if it's a real plant. I just am not familiar with it, or if it is it just looks strange, but I don't know what it is. All right. And so that's really kind of he's got this sign behind him. Oh yeah, there's a dinosaur. I haven't been able to see the picture on the top left, and this is a dinosaur. You'll see it in a minute. So we can listen to this man, this terrorist asshole, this incredible coward, and see who our enemy is, and it's going to scare you to death.
Good evening. I'm Shamsud, Jabbar, property manager with Blue Meadow Properties and team lead at the Midas Group at Core Realty. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch. So I've taken.
And that's rather ominous considering what he pulled off last night. And I think he pulled it off with the help of city officials in New Orleans. The reason that I say that is because those critical barriers were not erected on New Year's Eve. So Mardi Gras and New Year's Eve are the two biggest celebrations down in the French Quarter. These were specially installed so that with the flip of the switch, they rise up from the concrete, and then you've got these heavy metal barriers that are 100% designed to stop someone from using a car or a truck as a weapon of mass destruction. And the one critical night, a crazy man decides to go out and do this, they're not up. When they're up every other night of the year, they're up. Our enemy is internal, y'all.
Taking those skills and applied them to my career as a real estate agent, where I feel like what really sets me apart from other agents is my ability to be able to, one, be a fierce negotiator. So not only do I brilliantly market your property to make sure it gets sold as quickly as possible or gets leased as quickly as possible, but I'm also going to take every ounce of energy and putting it into negotiating for you and for your property to get the best deal that you can possibly get for it. So once we get.
Now, one thing I noticed in this video is this is one of those people that doesn't blink. He doesn't blink. Maybe a few times in this whole video. Some research has shown that is a characteristic that is common with people high in psychopathy.
Get to the closing table, all the I's are going to be dotted, all the T's are going to be crossed, everything's going to go off without a hitch, and that is my word that I'm giving to you as your real estate agent. So if that's the type of agent you're looking for, reach out to me. You see my phone number on the page. If not, it's 832-774-9718. Give me a call. And even if you don't want to have me as your agent, call me with any questions you may have. So even if you're a first-time home buyer or you're an experienced real estate investor and you're just looking for somebody to help you with doing some analysis on some properties that you're looking at, either way, give me a call. I'm glad to help anytime. And I'm looking forward to talking to you.
So again, just notice, I'm going to quiet the recording. Just notice the eye blinks. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of eerie to watch. It kind of makes you uncomfortable to realize how long this guy can go without blinking his eyes. It's also chilling that the guy is, he's American citizen. He is educated. He's got a great job. And it looks to me that he spent at least 2 years plotting and planning this assault in New Orleans. We know that the truck was rented, was not his truck. It was rented from the assistant sales manager at Mac Height dealership here in Houston. It's a huge, huge dealership. And this guy, Rodrigo Diaz, is the one that rented the Cybertruck to this guy, the electric Ford, rented it to this guy. And he is being questioned right now by the FBI. Let's just hope it's not that super, super duper special FBI agent that stood up in New Orleans and said, oh, this is not a terror event. This man on that rented Cybertruck electric Ford, had a flag on the back of the truck, a mounted flag that was the jihadi flag. And there was a big old bomb in the back end of the truck. And I don't know if at this point they have neutralized the bomb. I know that there have been some people down in the French Quarter who have reported hearing 2 smaller explosions. So that could have been, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, it's not a Cybertruck. It is a Ford, but it's an electric Ford. One of the things notable about this particular truck is the acceleration rate is astronomical. Within 4 seconds, you can be up at like 66 miles per hour. So given that the geography of where this took place, it is that intersection with Canal Street and Bourbon Street, and there's not like you wouldn't really have a long stretch to build up speed, I guess, in a conventional vehicle. So I think that is very notable, but I'll tell you, I would not want to be Rodrigo Diaz today. He is selling his house. Listen to this. So Rodrigo Diaz is in the process of selling his house. Beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous house. 630,000. He's got it for sale for. Wouldn't it be chilling if this guy was listing Rodrigo Diaz's house and Rodrigo Diaz rented the Ford truck to the terrorist? It's going to be messy for Rodrigo for a while. Rodrigo Diaz's wife said they were devastated. Oh my God, Jeff, I just can't even wrap my head around it. And Rodrigo Diaz, like I said, he is the Mac Height dealership in the Houston area is huge. Like probably every 4th car on the interstate is a Mac Height car. I bought a car from them one time. So This guy being the sales manager in this enormous, I mean, these are high profile people we're talking about. So I mean, it's a beautiful family. It's terrible. I just can't imagine. So this Rodrigo, he has a fleet of cars that he's been buying for. I found the first one he bought, and I can't remember how long ago it was. Maybe it was. I'll have to go back. I made a file on my computer. I'll go back and look through my file, but it seemed like maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago, the Rodrigo began buying cars for this rental type platform that is very much like B&B, right? That you just get on there and you say, I need to rent a car. And then a private car owner says, sure, you can rent my car, just like we do with our vacation properties and such. So that's how it came to pass that the terrorists ended up with one of Rodrigo's rental cars, is that he's simply building a fleet of rental cars, offering a service that is very similar in platform to, the B&Bs that everybody is doing now. So I just cannot imagine the devastation that this very good family is feeling. It's got to be a nightmare, a living nightmare. And it's strange because I've had this conversation with my husband before, because we've got some stuff we considered maybe doing, short-term rental, vacation rental. And he and I both were just like, well, but what would you do? You have this beautiful place, you rent it out to somebody for the weekend, and then there's a horrific murder in your beautiful, great, home. We thought about that. We thought about, you're less likely to have that kind of thing happen with long-term rental because you run background checks, and all that. But the short-term rentals, it's not the same. It's different, right? So I never considered the same thing happening with a vehicle that people would rent. We've also got a truck we considered, doing for the short haul. People will rent a truck for the day. And I just never thought that someone would do that in a mass casualty event. I mean, in short, this creeper that we just watched, he turned Rodrigo's business into, a weapon of mass destruction. It's just horrible. So it will, Tracy. It absolutely will. And they seem like a really, 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 really nice family. They live in a really boring community. Nothing ever happens in their little subdivision that they live in. It's very expensive houses there, and his family, I'm not going to reveal them and show them, but the kids, I think they have like 4 children, and they look like they range from like 6 months old up to maybe 4 or 5 years old. I mean, it's a beautiful, gorgeous little family. And it's so just boring America. It's just mainstream America. And it is a nightmare that this has happened. Not only the nightmare of what happened in New Orleans, but the fact that this innocent family now is caught up in this horrific thing. I don't even know what you call it. Just sinister. It's just ugly and sinister. And so this guy that we just watched the video, I can put it back up there as I'm talking about it. As we look at this guy, come on, computer. Sorry, not that guy. That guy's attorney. This guy is the New Orleans assassin. This is him. Property manager for Blue Meadow Properties. He is the team leader at the Midas Group. in Houston, Texas. This is terrifying. And the reason that it's terrifying is because this is your domestic terrorist. This is who not parents at school board meetings that are upset about the content that is being taught in the classroom. Those are not the domestic terrorists. This guy is the domestic terrorist. The guy who is just living a normal life that we're all living, who just seems to be as regular and normal as me and you, and he's got a nice job and he's well educated. And I mean, so this was posted I thought it'd been posted. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so this was posted May the 12th, 2020. Nearly 5 years ago. And yet, look at this artwork right behind him here. Where the lamp is, there's a statue, and the statue is playing a saxophone. This is New Orleans memorabilia. It's New Orleans memorabilia. And I said, well, that's not a big deal. Tons of people love jazz, and they go to New Orleans, and that's nothing. But then I got to really, really looking at the art, this what looks to be painted artwork here. And it just seems like this, old Caucasian fellow. He's got blood coming out of his mouth. I don't know if you can see it. He's got the top of him, his tuxedo. There's something green. Maybe it's a green bow tie, perhaps. I'm not sure. But notice if you follow down from his neck, it's actually the large blade of a knife. It's the large blade of a knife here. And whatever this is in the bottom, it looks to be, again, green. And I don't know if you guys know this, but green is the color of Islam. This dark corner here is also green, and it's got red splotch here. And so I started looking on this side, on the left side of the picture, and realized this is a handgun right here, this little black thing. This is a handgun, and if you follow the trajectory of the handgun, it looks like it is blowing out the side of the right side of the Caucasian old guy's head, and then the red splotch ends up right there on the dark green corner. It's the perfect trajectory. So since 2020, this guy has been sitting there with these nightmare images in his mind. And I really, really wish I could read what these books are. Any of you prolific readers, if you recognize the patterning on the backs of these spines of these books, let me know. I can't make it out. I don't know what it is. Maybe this says, I don't know what it is. I don't know. But the clock says 5 minutes till 10. I think I said 11 a while ago. 5 minutes till 10, which would be what? 9:55. So I don't know if there's any significance there. It doesn't look like a real clock. It looks almost like it's paper. It doesn't even look real. So I don't know if it's another piece of weird artwork. Maybe, I don't know. So yeah, the whole thing is really cryptic and frightening. And remember, he posted this May the 12th, 5/12, 2020. So it's really this is your enemy. It's the guy living next door. It's the guy with a great job that is unbelievable. I don't know. There's the little dinosaur thing. All right. So, the painting looks like a founding father of America. It does, Nana. It kind of has that look when you really get close to it. Yeah, definitely. Jean Michael Basquiat, oil on wood painting. Peter James, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Ah, that's so great. All right. So Jean Michael Basquiat. Thank you so much for telling me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna look. My computer did that weird thing again. I don't know why it keeps doing this. Is it gonna work this time? Resources preloaded using link, but not using this. Okay. Nope. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to look it up right now, but I'm going to as soon as I end this live. All right, the poor guy that is showing now, he's just a rando lawyer. He's not part of the story. It's just the video rolled to the next video. All right, so Peter James, do you know the significance of that painting or the name of the painting or anything like that? Hi, Laura. How are you? I also find looking at the books on someone's shelves when they're doing the video gives you a good projection of view for their personality and interests. I would agree. Yeah. Although I also think you have to do it within reason, right? Because if the books that you would see like in my office are decidedly different than what you would see if I was in my bookshelf at home. So that can also have a big impact. I just photo Googled it. Oh, okay. So what's the name of the painting, Peter James? I have another picture of the dude. Hold on, let me link you up to that photo too. Which is sort of chilling because the guy doesn't look to be like this slick, pleasant dude that we just saw from the picture, does he? This one, he does look, in fact, ominous. I find it fascinating. It's definitely the same dude, but I think it's absolutely fascinating This must be the photograph that they got from 2 days ago, perhaps. But he does look like he may have been radicalized. His beard has a characteristic shape to it. So this is the dude right here, the one we just watched, who was all nice and cleaned up and just looked like your next door neighbor. This is the real dude right here. And no, this isn't an unsecured border problem. This guy's living next door to you. Now, the other thing that I find absolutely shocking, he had put a special trailer hitch that would allow him to put his jihadi flag on the back end of his weapon of mass destruction. He literally has a jihadi flag that is attached to the back end of this truck. So here he is riding around in New Orleans on New Year's Eve, dressed fully in fatigues, with a jihad flag blazing, opened up, unfurled, blazing, and nobody put the metal barriers up. So who helped him? Someone helped this guy do this last night. It's really a nightmare. Really and truly a nightmare. Seems like anger can distort one's face. A smile can transform the face. Oh, absolutely, Jeff. Hey, Castle, how are you? Good job, Peter. Thank you. Absolutely, Peter. I am eternally grateful to you. It's just a print of Jean-Michel Basquiat. Usually they will give them a name, though. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, so a true Cybertruck, a Tesla Cybertruck, exploded right in front of the Trump Tower in Las Vegas. They drove it up like right under the dais where you would walk in through the circular door, and it caught on fire. Of course, it starts exploding, right? And so these batteries are actually incredibly dangerous. Excuse me, just 1 second. Got a call. Um, and they can actually burn for like 24 hours. You can't put these batteries out in the normal way. And so this could end up being a story at the Trump Tower. It could be a story for several days as they try to put it out and, get it together. Peter James says that Jean-Michel Basquiat was an American artist who rose to success during the 1980s as part of the Neo-Expressionism movement. Thank you for the information, Peter James. We appreciate you. In the bushes, he was former military and his weapon was a truck. He didn't need help. Well, he did get help in the bushes, and we know that he got the name of the piece is Portrait of Jean. Thank you. You guys are coming in here strong with good information. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. He actually did have help, in my opinion. He did have help because New Orleans is equipped with these very specialized, heavy steel barriers, and they can automatically flip them up, have them up, or recess down into the ground. and they come on every night. And I don't remember the times that they come on. Something like maybe from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I think. Is that right? We've got some New Orleans people in here. Anyway, so they're supposed to be, they come up out of the ground and they're up all night, and then at the start of the day they go back down to the ground. These were erected after a couple of different things that happened, but the final straw that broke the camel's back was a car that was, it wasn't a terror attack, it was a terrible accident. And because of the chain events of the terrible car accident, the vehicle rammed into a Mardi Gras parade, and there were dozens of people killed, maimed, and injured. It was a nightmare several years ago, and it was a disaster. It wasn't terror related, but it was a disaster. And at that point, then after these other little incidents that had happened, the city decided to go ahead and pay the money to have these steel barriers inserted into the ground. And so now they can very, very easily have these come up and go down, right? And they come up every night at the same time, and they go down early morning, sunrise at the same time, except New Year's Eve of 2024. So it is highly suspect that they were down at 3 o'clock in the morning. Very curious, especially on a night like New Year's Eve. Sometimes the barriers will go up, like if there's a big football game, and you're going to have a lot of people drinking and out in the street, in the middle of the day. So definitely Super Bowl, they would be up. So the reason they were installed is specifically to stop this. Like, that's the whole reason that they were there. So it's quite horrifying to realize someone didn't do the job last night. And it would be very interesting to know who that person was. He was in the military, served 10 years in the Army. Yes. And that does sort of reek of the problem of it being like a false flag event. I would agree with that. I think they did not raise them at their normal time in the bushes. They're raised every night like clockwork. So why weren't they raised last night? So yes, I believe someone screwed up. But isn't that interesting? Someone screwed up and we've got 12 people dead and dozens more injured. What about the mistakes that were made in the Trump assassination, part 1, part 2, and part 3? Oopsie. It was just human error. I don't believe that. You don't have this many events of human error. And especially not Bourbon Street on New Year's Eve. That whole city is ramping up, gearing up for New Year's Eve for an entire month before it ever gets there. Mark my words on that. There's someone to be held accountable for those barriers not being up. Someone. Cador Regal says all a psyop. In the bushes, New Year's Eve of all nights. Exactly. It's just mind-boggling. It's the one night. I mean, let's be honest. This is New Orleans, Bourbon Street, most famous party in the world, right? There are very specific times when Bourbon Street is just teeming with people. Mardi Gras is a season where you cannot stir the people with a stick. And New Year's Eve is the other time that they're like that. But make no mistake about it. Football games, Sundays, you're going to have the same type. So something categorically wrong last night that those barriers did not come up because they come up every night at the same time. Painting with a portrait of his friend John in 1985. It's not a very good painting. Eschatologists are saying this year will be insane or the calm before the storm. I think we've had the calm. Presser live update soon on News Nation. Thank you, Castle, for that. I hope the resources that are being used too. So I wanted to show. Wait a minute, not that. We're not showing that. I wanted to show the video of this man. I looked up the other thing. I looked up that address that's on the YouTube channel. It's just a little office building. There's nothing to it. I guess you could assume that that's where his offices are, perhaps. I'm not going to show that. We already looked at this. Okay. All right. So it looks like more and more people now are picking up on this YouTube video. So it probably won't be too long before it goes down, would be my guess. So here is the terrorist. And behind him is a statue of a man playing the saxophone. And it is very reminiscent of New Orleans jazz, which I find is fascinating because this video was recorded May the 12th, 2020. That means 4.5 years this dude has been planning this. Or it increases the possibility. I'm not going to say it does say that, but increases the possibility that this thing may have been planned for quite a while. People are telling me that this cryptic painting here is by Jean-Michel Baptista, and that it is a painting of his friend John. And then you've got this goofy little dinosaur print, probably the same artist, is my guess. And I have not been able to make out what this is at all. It's very difficult. So I'll play this one more time and then I'll end the live.
And let you know a little bit about me. So,
I'm sorry. Oh, I guess Twitter won't let me go backwards. Nope.
I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch.
And, that's sort of ominous, isn't it? Based on what he did yesterday. And let me draw attention again. Watch his eyes. The dude doesn't hardly ever blink. And that is a characteristic that is heavily correlated with people high in psychopathy.
So I've taken those skills and applied them to my career as a real estate agent, where I feel like what really sets me apart from other agents is my ability to be able to, one, be a fierce negotiator. So not only do I brilliantly market your property to make sure it gets sold as quickly as possible or gets leased as quickly as possible, but I'm also going to take every ounce of energy and putting it into negotiating for you and for your property to get the best deal that you can possibly get for it. So once we get to the closing table, all the I's are going to be dotted, all the T's are going to be crossed, everything's going to go off without a hitch. And that is my word that I'm giving to you as your real estate agent. So if that's the type of agent you're looking for, reach out to me. You see my phone number on the page. If not, it's 832-774-9718. Give me a call. And even if you don't want to have me as your agent, call me with any questions you may have. So even if you're a first-time home buyer or you're an experienced real estate investor and you're just looking for somebody to help you with doing some analysis on some properties that you're looking at, either way, give me a call. I'm glad to help anytime, and I'm looking forward to talking to you.
All right, so that's him. He's the one that did the dirty deed. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and end this live. I had not planned on, this being long or anything, so just thought it was interesting to see. And also Trump Tower in Las Vegas, interestingly enough, they have a Tesla Cybertruck that has exploded and is on fire, but there was no damage to the building that you can see anyway. And so also we had 3 iconic buildings that were struck by lightning. How crazy is that? So a lot of weird things happening, and I don't mean it's cryptic or portends any kind of future problem, but I think it is very curious that all this happened on New Year's 2025 with a country that remains heavily divided. So be kind to one another, regardless of your politics. And, this terrorist stuff is not about whether he's illegal. It's that he's a psychopath that destroyed so many lives last night. So many. All right. Prayers to you and yours. And hopefully there'll be no more breaking news today. It's my prayer. See you guys later. You're awesome. If this is your first time here, I usually cover true crime. If that's your thing, I hope you'll subscribe. If it's not your thing, well, thank you so much for joining us for this little snippet of breaking news. And I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. Talk to you later.